All right, all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Warakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like. To the rest of the church who believe as well, including you women, to the dead in Yahweh Shai also, and the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel, none of this would even be possible. All right. I remember a lesson I did roughly 3 years ago, and the title was somewhere around the lines of the elect are as Noah. So I kind of want to go into that again, but also symbolizing how Noah not only symbolizes the elect, he also symbolizes the nation of Israel, because a covenant was made with Noah, just as a covenant was made with the nation of Israel. Now, Noah, he wasn't called an Israelite, okay, because we weren't called Israel until Jacob, who later had his name changed to Israel. Once that happened, we were known as the Israelites, but we were known as the sons of God. Noah was one of the sons of God, okay? And hopefully, this lesson can be edifying and just kind of going into how the elect are as Noah, and Noah also symbolizes the nation of Israel, okay? So this is the book of Genesis chapter 6 and verse 17. Give me a second here. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 17. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. And I believe that verse is pretty self-explanatory. And you got to think how destructive this water was. We're not just talking about a sprinkling of rain. Genesis 6 and 18. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai made a covenant with Noah. Okay? And he promised that he wouldn't destroy Noah. He wouldn't destroy Noah's wife. He wouldn't destroy Noah's wife, his sons' wives, nor neither his sons. Okay? That was the covenant that was made with Noah. And just as, some of us in this truth, our families are going to be delivered with us. Some of us, our families may not be delivered with us, because ultimately we all have to pay for our own individual judgments based on things not only we've done in this life, but our past lives as well. Okay? So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai set Noah aside, Noah and his household, which was Noah, his 3 sons, their wives, including Noah's wife. Okay? Verse 19, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of 2, every sort shalt thou bring into the ark. And why do you think in your mind Noah would have to have brought, 2 and 2 when it came to these creatures? He had to bring male and female so that they could reproduce. Common sense, okay? Now, we live in a society where they try to make man on man, woman on woman. That's nothing but population control. 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. So that's how you keep not only a nation going, that's how you keep the animal life going. That's how you keep different insects going. You got to have male and female. That's how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai set it up. But according to Esau, they want to, mix and change everything up. But I'm not going to go any further with that, but we got the point. We understand that a covenant was made with Noah. And seeing that covenant was made with Noah, Noah and his household would not be destroyed. And we're in this truth, in hopes of the same thing, that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, find mercy upon us. Just as he did with Noah, giving him that covenant. Okay? This is the book of Genesis chapter 9 and verse 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. Matter of fact, let me jump all the way back. In fact, I went too far. Genesis 9 and verse 8. And God spake unto Noah and his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there be any more. Neither shall there be any more be a flood to destroy the earth. So a covenant was made with Noah. Not only that Noah would be delivered, him and his household, but Yahweh at that time, which today we say Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we can't get to the Father without going through the Son. All right? But seeing that he made a covenant with Noah, saying, I'm not going to destroy the earth with water again. This is not going to happen again. Okay? This is also known as the first death. Okay? Now we're coming into a season of the second death. And only the elect, only the remnant are going to be delivered from the second death. But this is speaking of a covenant, going off of the first death, that once this flood came, his household and himself would be delivered. He brought certain creatures, male and female, to keep them procreating so that they wouldn't be done off. Okay? This was Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai starting over. And that's exactly what is going to happen once the missiles fall on Babylon. It's going to be a reset button, and the Lord is going to start over. Okay? And the new modern day ark is going to be the chariots. Okay? The chariots are going to float on top of fire, just like a boat would float on top of water. Okay? That's why it's also known as the lake of fire. Well, the new flood is going to be the lake of fire. Genesis 9 and 11 again. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there be any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Okay? So the Lord not only made a covenant with Noah, he made a covenant with the whole earth, that he's not going to flood the whole earth again. So if you hear Esau saying in the next 100 years, all of America could be underwater, or the next 500 years, the whole earth might be underwater, or some crazy stuff, it's a lie, because the Lord already promised that he wouldn't flood the earth again. And that's why you still see the rainbow. And it wasn't that long ago I saw a double rainbow, and I'll post the picture up. Buzz on. Or the video, but I saw a double rainbow, and then days later it rained a lot, and my basement, it didn't like flood over, but the water got up to I'd say about an inch high in certain areas. It rained a whole lot, but it made me think of when the Lord flooded the earth, but how he promised he wasn't going to flood the earth by showing what we call today the rainbow. Okay? And then the homosexuals, they took it and made it their symbol. And it says right here, it says my bow. So the Lord said that's his. He claims that. But then, you know, these sodomites wanna stamp it. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. So that's the sign that you know the Lord's not going to flood the earth again. Okay? And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. This is all a part of the Lord's covenant with the earth. Okay, so the Lord already made a covenant with Noah that he wasn't going to destroy Noah and his household. Now the Lord is saying, look, although I did this, you know, you got to think a lot has happened just based off of water killing a mass amount of people. You got to think of the land that was destroyed. You got to think of the homes that were destroyed. Okay, all the goods, all the whatever they had, all the possessions just being destroyed. All that was just pretty much wiped out. Okay, but the Lord's saying, look, I'm not going to destroy the earth that way again. He's not saying he's not going to bring judgment again. All he's promising is that he's not going to flood the whole earth again. Okay? So don't get all happy and say, see, the Lord's merciful. Yeah, he is merciful. But don't play with him, man. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. So typically, this covenant was a covenant that the Lord made with all of us. Okay? This is the one covenant that you heathens can claim. A heathen can actually say, actually, we do have a covenant with God. God made a covenant with us and said he wouldn't flood the earth again. Well, yeah, that's true. Okay? Because this is a covenant between Yahweh and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. So even unto this day, the Lord promised the whole earth, every person on this earth, you should know the earth's not going to flood because the Lord promised that. And the fact that you still see rainbows today is a sign that he didn't go back on his word. All right? And the power said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. Okay, so, you know, the Lord is all about covenants. Noah, he was a remnant that was delivered. The whole earth was destroyed. Him and his household were the only ones that made it. They were the elect at that time. They were of the household of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of that time. Okay, that's just how the Lord works. All right, now I'm going to go to the Apocrypha. I got to open up my Apocrypha here. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 44 and 17. Noah was found perfect and righteous. In a time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. So check that out, man. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai sees us not only as pure gold. Out of all people in the earth, they don't mean nothing compared to his remnant, his elect. At this time, Noah symbolizing the elect. The whole world was destroyed, and only him, his 3 sons, their wives. Okay? And certain animals and different creatures being saved. You got to imagine how special that would make you. Okay? So imagine taking like in today's world, just to kind of, give an understanding, how 100 pennies is only $1 bill. So Noah was that $1 bill compared to those 100 pennies, so to speak. So seeing how Noah was found in the eyes of the Lord to be perfect. And you got to imagine how people thought Noah was crazy, because back at that time it never ever rained. Okay, how was the crops and things being watered? When you go outside, and you might see that it's really foggy sometimes, and you'll see moisture on your car, you'll see moisture in the grass. That's how the earth used to water itself. It didn't rain at that time. So when Noah would talk about how the rain would come, how crazy he sounded, because we're out here telling you, missiles are going to be shot off. Missiles are going to fall from the sky. This has never happened. So according to the eyes of this world, those who are meant to be blocked, they think we're crazy, because here it is, we're building our spiritual ark. But in the eyes of the Lord, those men are going to be found perfect, and they're going to be put aside and delivered while he destroys everybody else. The same thing he did back then. Nothing new under the sun. This is a reincarnated judgment, but differently. Okay? And the reincarnation is what? The old destruction was with water, the new destruction is with fire. Although two separate elements, okay, that's like a spirit coming back in a different body. Same spirit, just a different way of going about it. Noah was found perfect and righteous in a time of wrath. He was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came. Okay, so we understand that Noah represents the elect. He represents the remnant. Okay, but in order to be of the remnant, you have to be an Israelite. In order for you to be the elect, you have to be an Israelite. So going back to the time of Noah, we weren't known as Israelites. He wasn't known as an Israelite. Okay? Therefore was he left as a remnant. So not only was he left as a remnant, you have a remnant even unto this day. Symbolizing what? Noah symbolically represents who the remnant are today. And in order to be of that remnant, you have to be what? An Israelite. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came. An everlasting covenant was made with him, that all flesh should perish no more by the flood. So how was all flesh going to perish this time around? Different various judgments, but ultimately when the missiles drop on certain people, man, it's gonna be a terrible judgment. And you better believe some of these people that are going to get caught up in these missiles, they drowned in that flood also in the ancient world, back in the reincarnation to catch this final judgment before the kingdom of heaven is established on the earth. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 11 and verse 5. Even so then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So we understand that Noah was as the remnant. So we also understand that even unto this present time, there's a remnant. So when the modern day flood comes, this new modern day remnant is going to be delivered from that flood. But you indeed have to be an Israelite. Okay? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read those two verses together. This is the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 44 and 17. This is what I like to call chain link. Okay? I'm literally going to read these two scriptures together. Okay? But I'm gonna call out the one in Sirach, and then I'm gonna read into Romans 11 and 5. So this is Sirach chapter 44 and verse 17. Noah was found perfect and righteous in the time of wrath. He was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came. Even so then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. See that, man? I just linked Sirach 44 and 17 up with Romans 11 and 5, and I read them together. And if I didn't tell you that, if you didn't know, you may have thought all that was one verse, because that's how these precepts line up. So just like back in that time, Noah was looked at as the remnant, this present time you have a remnant, and that remnant is known as the elect, the election of grace. Those are the ones sanctioned to receive grace, just like Noah did. He was sanctioned to receive grace at that time. Okay? So even at this present time, you have what's known as the remnant, and they're all Israelites. All right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 7. For thus saith the Lord, sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Lord, save thy remnant of Israel. Okay? And that's what the Lord's always been about. He's always been about the remnant. He's always been about the elect. Going into that word remnant, it just means rest, residue, remainder, remnant, rest that is left, remainder, descendants. You know? So the remainder of Israel, those who are not sanctioned to be caught up in that ultimate wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they're going to be set aside. They're going to be protected. Okay, just as Noah going back in those times, man. The Lord always had a remnant. And that's just how the Lord works. Okay? I mean, it's not difficult, but you have a lot of people, they like to, make things difficult. Okay? For Jeremiah 31 and 7 again. For thus saith the Lord, sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Lord, save thy people. So who is the Lord's people? The remnant of Israel. So there you go, man. And when we present this word to you, you can't say you didn't hear it. Once you hear it, you get with it, you obey the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, or you can be like most Israelites and cast those words off and eventually just catch your judgment. And we're finally in the time of the ultimate judgment. This is the last aeon under Esau's rule. This is the last age under Esau's rule, man. There's not going to be another 20 years. All right? How do we know? Based off prophecy. Based off the spirit, man. Based off the fact that the prophets are back again doing this one more time. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, just like going back to the time of Noah and his household, they were the remnant at that time. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, like how Noah and his household escaped the flood, okay, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty of the power. So you can't. Let me just keep reading, man. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea. So yes, there's a lot of people within our nation. But you know what? The Heavenly Father destroyed the whole earth back in the time of Noah. And only saved him and his household and certain animals and different creatures. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. Seeing that just in today's time, you know, you have a remnant. It really mirrors, it reflects on Noah. How it happened in the time of Noah and how it happened in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was just a small example of what's to come. The old destruction, how the earth flooded with water, the earth is going to be flooded with fire in certain areas. All of America itself is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. Okay, so although there's a lot of Israelites, the majority have to die, just like going back to the time of Noah, the Lord wiped out the whole earth. So you don't think the Lord's not willing to kill as many people as he did back then again? Even more so? This is the judgment of all judgments coming. Okay? For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, and you can't number grains of sand. Okay? Yet a remnant of them shall return. Speaking of the elect, because that's who the Lord's all about. The elect, the remainder. The consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness. All right, so the Lord made a covenant with Noah and his household. To Noah that he wouldn't destroy him. To build that ark. Man, Noah built that ark. Man, you got to imagine. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, etc. And you still building that ark. You still got people scoffing. And then you got to imagine, you got to think, man. I'm sure his family at times being under stress, like, man, dad's tripping. Pops is tripping, man. But, you know, they were also not scoffing too much because evidently the Lord had mercy upon him and his household. You know? But you had to have thought, like, you know, people looking at him like, what the hell is this guy doing? This dude is bugged the hell out. Just like when we go out there and we teach, you know, you got to imagine people are looking at us like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, who is he talking to? Not seeing that I'm building an ark for the flood to come. Brothers are building spiritual arks for the flood to come. Each brother is building their own individual ark, so to speak. Because the scriptures say, you know, you got to be persuaded in your own mind. All right? So this is the book of, I'm going to close it out. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 24. Get it open right quick. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 24 and verse 23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God. So all these things that you're seeing in the scriptures, okay, all these different acts that you've read about, the covenant that was made with the Israelites, this book is also known as the book of the covenant. All right, and the covenant's been made that the Heavenly Father is not going to flood the earth again, but you got to understand that judgment this time around is coming with fire. All right. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High Power. Even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregations of Jacob. So the covenant is still made with Israel. So that covenant that was made with Noah going back in the ancient world, Noah just symbolically represents the Israelites today. Noah is as the nation of Israel. But on a further note, Noah is as the remnant, the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay? And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has always been about covenants. And when he makes a covenant, he doesn't break it, not even for his word. Okay? When he says something, that's what it's going to be. So here in the year of 2020, you're seeing prophecies unfold. You're seeing more people waking up here in these end times. All right. And the things that are written, in the book of the law, all these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High, as it says, and we're under the covenant. We're the Israelites, man. The Lord is going to set aside a remnant of his people to not get caught up in this new flood. And you got to have faith and hope that, the Lord have mercy upon you. All right. So, with that, hey, I'm going ahead and wrap it up. Kahala, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom.